Dream of the Red Chamber, Chapter 13.
And the scene, it starts so quietly. Wang Shifeng, who's normally this, whirlwind of activity.
A powerhouse.
Right. She's just listless. She's bored. The source uses that great phrase, "Oh," she falls asleep, and this is when it all happens. She enters this startling, incredibly vivid dream.
And this dream isn't just, for atmosphere. It is the delivery mechanism for a profound truth. King Keqing, the deceased, she appears to Jess Feng.
And she makes a point of saying she came specifically to her, right?
Oh, absolutely. She calls Shifeng a hero among women, which is, a huge compliment. But it's also a burden.
Why a burden?
Because Keqing knows Shifeng is the only one in that whole family with the brains and the administrative muscle to actually do something about the warning.
And she doesn't waste any time, no sentimentality. She gets right to it, laying down these fundamental laws about their fate.
Yes, these mottos about the cycles of fortune. The first one is, moon full, it wanes. Water full, it overflows.
Right. It's that idea that when you hit the absolute peak, the only way to go is down.
Precisely. And the second one is even more blunt. Ascend high, fall heavily.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
That's the one. And she gives them a timeline. She says, look, the family's been glorious for nearly 100 years. You are at the absolute zenith.
So you're in the danger zone.
The ultimate danger zone. You're right on the edge of that moment where joy to the extreme gives birth to sorrow. And when that happens, boom, the tree falls, the monkeys scatter.
A terrifyingly specific image. And Zhifeng, ever the pragmatist, she just asks, okay, so how do we ensure eternal preservation? She wants the cheat code.
She does. And Keqing immediately tells her she's being foolish.
Yeah.
Human effort can't stop these huge cycles. So if you can't stop the decay, what's the only realistic option?
You have to plan for the retreat.
Exactly. You use the resources you have at the peak to build a fallout shelter for the future. You use prosperity to plan for decay.
And she identifies two specific structural flaws that they've been ignoring.
Yes, the twin pillars of their legitimacy are actually unstable. First, there's no guaranteed money set aside for the ancestral sacrifices.
Which, we need to be clear, this isn't just about sentiment. This is a political act. It validates their status.
It's everything. It's their social and cosmic legitimacy. And second, the family school has no stable funding.
So the next generation might not be competent enough to run things?
You got it. They have all this wealth, but no insurance policy for the two things that actually guarantee their future.
So Keqing's solution isn't about saving cash. It's about land.
It's always about land. She says to buy up farmland and residences near the ancestral grounds right now while you're rich, and then dedicate that property legally to funding the sacrifices in the school.
Okay, and this is the absolute aha moment. Why is doing it this way so much better than, say, just setting up a trust?
Because of the political immunity. This is the kicker.
Okay.
Keqing says that property designated for ancestral sacrifices is politically untouchable. Even if the family is convicted of a huge crime, even if the emperor confiscates everything.
Let me guess.
This sacrificial property, not even the officials can confiscate.
Wow. So it is like an ancient government-proof trust fund?
It is the ultimate insurance policy. It's protected by these deep cultural norms about filial piety. She calls it a retreat.
A safe harbor.
A guaranteed safe harbor where even if they lose everything, their descendants can return home, study, and farm. The family line continues forever.
It's an absolutely phenomenal piece of strategic thinking.
It is. And the irony just gets deeper because even as she's giving them this perfect plan, she warns them about what's coming now.
Right. She predicts this huge burst of prosperity is on the way.
A time of flourishing like fire cooking oil, flowers brocaded over silk. It's an image of insane opulence. But then she delivers the punchline.
A great feast must break up.
The peak glory is just the signal for the crash.
The stage is perfectly set. We have the diagnosis and the cure.
But we know this family. We know that ego and grief are about to just steamroll common sense.
And just as she's finishing this terrifyingly rational argument, the dream is broken.
Violently. Shifeng is jolted awake by the cloudboard knocking 4 times. The emergency signal.
The crisis has already arrived. The news is delivered. The eldest daughter-in-law of the Eastern residence is gone. King Keqing is dead.
Oh, wow. The dream was her literal farewell.
Yes. Hiemthing breaks out in a cold sweat. It's real.
And the sources say the grief was genuine, right? She was loved by everyone.
Universally. Elders, peers, servants, everyone adored her. But the reaction that tells you everything about the family's instability is values.
He was already feeling emotional, wasn't he?
He was, feeling lonely. because Lin Daiyu wasn't there. When he hears the news, his reaction is completely physical.
He doesn't just cry.
No. The text says he felt as if stabbed by a knife. He rushes up and, he actually spits out a mouthful of blood.
He spits blood.
A whole mouthful. Raging fire attacking the heart is the explanation. It shows you how this family lives emotionally. It's all at maximum volume. Grief causes a physiological collapse.
And he rushes over, even though he's told not to.
Ignores grandmother Jia completely. His emotional connection just overrides all protocol. So that raw, genuine emotion then immediately gets twisted, doesn't it? It turns into this spectacle led by Jia Zhen.
Keqing's father-in-law. His grief is extreme, but it's all tangled up with status anxiety.
He's crying that she was 10 times stronger than a son.
And that the family line is now extinct. It's pure melodrama. This funeral becomes his chance to prove how powerful and rich he still is.
So instead of Keqing's careful plan, he goes for the fire-cooking oil display she warned against.
To an astronomical degree. He immediately hires 108 Buddhist monks and 99 Taoist priests.
For how long?
For 49 straight days of ceremonies.
Yeah.
It's an insane, unbudgeted expense purely for show.
And his own father, Jia Jing, is completely absent.
That's the crucial part. Ji Jing is off trying to become a Taoist immortal, so he refuses to come back and get his hands dirty.
So Jia Zhen has no adult supervision.
Zero. No restraint. Which leads us to the single most dangerous status symbol of the whole affair.
The coffin.
The coffin wood.
Regular cypress isn't good enough, of course. And then Chupan just happens to show up with this special Kwang wood.
And it's not just that it's expensive, it's the history, the provenance.
Where did it come from?
It was originally for a certain Prince Yizhong, a prince who, as the text puts it, spoiled things.
Which is a very delicate way of saying he was probably disgraced or committed treason, right?
That's the implication. So by using wood meant for a disgraced royal, Jia Zhen isn't just showing off his wealth.
He's being incredibly arrogant. He's practically inviting state scrutiny.
Exactly. He is symbolically linking his family with politically toxic material. It's a huge risk.
And the description of the wood is just mythical. 8 inches thick, a scent of sandalwood and musk.
And when you knock on it, it sounds like gold and jade. It is a royal artifact for a daughter-in-law's funeral.
Jizang, the more cautious one, he does warn him, doesn't he?
He does. He says this is not something ordinary people can enjoy. But Jizan just blows him off completely. He is actively making Keqing's prophecy come true.
But amid all this, this reckless spending and political risk, we get these 2 moments of just pure, selfless loyalty.
From Keqing's maids, yes. A stark contrast. First, there's Rizu, who is so overcome with grief, she just kills herself on the spot by hitting a pillar.
Immediate, passionate, and just tragic.
Absolutely. But then you have Bao Zhu, and her story is different.
Right. Keqing had no children, so there was no one to perform the mourning rites.
So Bao Zhu volunteers to become her adopted daughter, just so she can fulfill those duties.
And that act of loyalty actually changes her own status.
Immediately. She's now addressed as Miss Bao Zhu. So you have this tragic emotional sacrifice on one hand, and this kind of strategic, status-elevating sacrifice on the other, both born of loyalty.
That contrast really sums up the whole crisis, doesn't it?
It does.
On one side, you have real human feeling, Baoyu's blood, the maid's devotion. And on the other, you have Jia Zhen's reckless spending, ignoring the perfect roadmap for survival that was handed to them moments before.
Their failure is entirely strategic. They got the diagnosis, the prognosis, and the ancestral land loophole. But when the crisis hit, they chose spectacle over security. They actively chose the fire-cooking oil life.
Which guarantees that the Great Feast has to break up.
Sooner rather than later. What's fascinating here, and I think you'll find incredible, is the sheer level of detail provided on the mechanisms of, corruption and bureaucracy. We aren't just told that they bought a title.
No, not at all.
The source gives us the name of the broker, the standard going rate, the competing bidders, and even the final negotiated price. It's basically an instruction manual for how the elite operate behind the scenes.
So let's start with that central dilemma. The head of the family, Jia Zhen, he's deeply uneasy during these funeral preparations. Why?
It all comes down to appearance. His son, Jia Rong, only held a Hongmin Jian. So basically, the minor status of a student,
Which means?
It means the spiritual banners, the ceremonial attendance, it would all look completely unbecoming during the procession. Just not good enough.
In this society, a major funeral is essentially a public performance, right? It's like a political audit of your family's influence.
Exactly. If the ceremonial guards look shabby or the titles of the chief mourners are too low, everyone knows your family's power is waning. You're basically signaling decline to all your peers. Jia Zhen needed an immediate upgrade, or he risked losing face that would take decades to recover.
And the fixer. He just arrives, almost too conveniently, on the 4th day of the first 7-day ritual.
The ultimate broker of status appears.
Yeah.
Inner palace eunuch Daquan.
And he arrives with major ceremony, a sedan chair, an umbrella, gongs, the whole 9 yards. He's signaling his immense power and access. So Jia Zhen immediately corners him to buy some status.
And Daquan, being this, professional facilitator of corruption that he is, he doesn't even need the full explanation. He gets it immediately.
He knows it's for appearance at the funeral.
He's there to sell credibility.
Yeah.
And he wastes no time. He reveals this perfect bureaucratic opportunity. A beauty gap, he calls it.
A beauty gap.
2 open positions for the prestigious Dragon Guard, the Longjin Wei. And to set the market price, he just casually mentions that the Zhang Yanghao's third brother just paid 1,500 taels for one of the slots.
So that's the standard price.
That's the sticker price. 1,500 taels for a respectable mid-level imperial title. But because Daquan considers Jia Zhen an old acquaintance, he offers a discount.
A friendly discount.
Right. He gives Jia Rong the last available slot for 1,200 taels. And critically, he explicitly says he's blocking a competitor, the young Xingyidushi Feng Fatty, from getting it.
So this is more than just a purchase. It's an instant bureaucratic coup. They're not just raising their own status, they're denying it to a rival.
Exactly. The closing price is 1,200 taels, a nice 300 tael discount, and that money gets delivered directly to Daquan's house.
Why do that? Why not go through the official Ministry of Revenue, the Hubu?
Oh, that would be a nightmare. Going through the official channels would be complex. You'd have higher official fees, delays, way more public scrutiny.
So paying Daquan directly is faster, it's untraceable.
And frankly, it's cheaper for Jia Zhen in the long run, even though it's technically a bribe. For that price, Jia Rong receives the 5th-rank Dragon Guard Imperial Guard title. Done.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The source gives us the actual resume, the Linley, written on this red paper. It details Jia Rong's basic info, age 20, student status, location, and then it lists his esteemed ancestors. Jia Daiwa, Jia Jing, Jia Zhen. This red paper, it feels like more than just a receipt.
It is. It's a form of immediate historical revisionism. It means the transaction is permanent and it's formalized. It legally links Jia Rong's purchase status to the noble pedigree of his ancestors. It's a concrete record stored in the family archives that says this rank was earned.
So connecting this to the bigger picture, that 1,200 taels immediately transforms the funeral from, a private family affair into a state-worthy spectacle.
It's pure political theater. It signals to everyone that the Jia family is still wealthy, still connected, and still highly relevant. And the change is instantaneous. It's dramatic.
And they spare no expense to make sure everyone sees it.
Not at all. The ceremonial items, the zishi, all the banners, flags, weapons, ritual objects, they're all instantly upgraded to reflect that new 5th-rank official status.
And there are spiritual consequences too, right? The deceased spirit tablet.
It now reads, Heavenly granted title, wife of the Jia family, Lady Qin Gongren. She's now a titled woman, posthumously, thanks to her husband's purchased rank.
The public display is just massive. They open the main gate of the Huifang Garden, which is reserved for the grandest occasions.
Drum and music halls are set up on both sides. 2 shifts of attendants playing music constantly.
And you mentioned the ceremonial guards were lined up sharp as a knife cutter X-Trap Dao Xin Fei. That phrase suggests, an almost militaristic precision for a funeral.
It does. It conveys control. That precision shows the family still has the resources not just to buy titles, but to organize hundreds of people flawlessly. Out on the street, this is broadcast on 2 massive scarlet signs with gold lettering.
Right outside the gate.
Proclaiming the new title. Guards Protectors of the Inner Palace. Forbidden Path. Imperial Attendant Dragon Guard. It's an undeniable public billboard of their purchase power.
And the ultimate validation is who shows up. The scope of the mourning, it reflects this new status. The funeral lasts 49 days, with a continuous stream of visitors.
And these aren't just polite condolences. The source explicitly lists high-ranking officials and their families. The wives of the loyal and serene Marquis, the families of Jixiang Hu, Chuaning Hu, and Shushan Bo. Those high-ranking families would not show that level of deference if the funeral suggested decline. Their presence is the ultimate public confirmation that their status is secure. For now.
And on top of all that, they invest heavily in religious pomp. Specific high-ranking monks and Taoists are hired to conduct these huge 49-day rituals.
Every single element is designed for maximum visual, political, and even spiritual impact. Once the external facade is perfectly settled, Jiazhen turns his attention inside, and this is where the real crisis begins. He's happy with the displays, but now he's worried about practical management.
His wife, Yushi, has had a relapse of her illness and can't manage the flow of all these high-ranking noble ladies, the Geoming, who are about to start visiting daily.
Right, and if those noble ladies see disorder inside the mansion, staff stealing, logistics collapsing, all the money spent on that Dragon Guard title will be for nothing. The external glory relies entirely on internal competence.
So the solution is found by whispering. Bai Yu suggests the name of the only person who can fix this mess, but he whispers it to Jiazhen.
Right, to avoid revealing it to the dozens of relatives standing around. The name, of course, is Wang Shifeng, Kangji.
So Jiazhen goes to Wang Firen, Xing Firen, and Fengji. And Wang Firen is hesitant. She argues Fengji is, quote, just a child and has no experience with major funerals.
She's worried the family will be ridiculed if Fengji messes up the highly ritualistic procedures. There's immense pressure here. Funerals are ritualistic minefields where one mistake can be a social disaster.
But Jiazhen is desperate. The source material emphasizes it by saying he literally sheds tears.
He launches into this plea, praising Fengji's innate talent, saying that since she was a child, she had killing resolve and judgment, the Shafa Jue Duan.
Wait a minute. He's shedding tears over the administrative chaos and the threat to his reputation, but he wasn't crying over the internal theft and systemic corruption that got them here in the first place.
It shows you exactly where his priorities lie: outward appearance and reputation. And that phrase, Shafa Jue Duan, that's historically reserved for military commanders or ruthless judges.
Not a young woman managing a household.
To use it for her shows how desperate Jiazhen was, and just how terrifyingly effective and decisive Fengji must be. He's not looking for a manager. He's looking for a warlord to run his kitchen.
And she agrees, eventually, after Wang Firen relents. But she plays the part, reassuring them it's manageable. You get the sense she sees this as a huge opportunity to prove herself.
A very high-profile arena she hasn't conquered yet. So she has delegated full authority to run the internal operations of the Ningguo mansion for the next 49 days.
And Jiazhen formalizes this power transfer. He presents the Ningguo Mansion tally, the Dewey Pie, which is the key to the treasury and staff authority.
And he gives her 3 extremely specific instructions that perfectly encapsulate the priorities of this kind of household.
This is the managerial mandate of the elite. His first instruction is so counterintuitive: don't intentionally try to save me money.
Astounding, isn't it? He explicitly tells her not to be frugal. The second instruction builds on that. Just let appearance be the primary goal.
And the third:
treat the staff well, the same way they're treated in her own home, the Rongo mansion, and don't worry about their complaints.
He's basically saying, I want the illusion of perfect, generous, and functional administration, regardless of the cost or long-term efficiency.
He's buying 49 days of flawless performance.
Fengji, ever the pragmatist, insists on commuting daily, but the second the family disperses, she refuses to go home. She says she must first impose order and work out a thread of structure before leaving.
She needs to diagnose the disease before she can even start treating the symptoms. And this raises the important question. She sits down, a seasoned manager in a new, chaotic domain. She doesn't need to ask questions.
She just knows.
She immediately identifies the core systemic failures of the Ningguo mansion. This is the aha moment for the listener, showing her immediate expertise.
She mentally runs through 5 structural problems, the 5 ills of Ningguo. The first is personnel chaos and theft, a mixed population of staff, which results in lost items.
Basically, nobody knows who belongs where, and the sheer volume of unfamiliar faces allows petty crime to just flourish. It's a breakdown of HR and basic security.
The second is a fundamental flaw in accountability. Lack of specific assignment, leading to procrastination and shifting blame. Shi wuzhuanzi ling titui.
The classic poisonous not my job syndrome. If no one owns the job, no one ever gets blamed.
Which feeds directly into the third ill and maybe the most financially corrosive one, financial fraud. She identifies excessive spending with fraudulent claims and unauthorized borrowing.
So you have a perfect feedback loop for corruption. If accountability is absent, ill number 2, then everyone can pad the expense reports and steal openly, ill number 3, without any fear of being caught.
Absolutely. Then you have the fourth structural problem, basic inefficiency and a total collapse in morale, imbalance in work distribution.
Kelly Bujun. Some staff suffer and work endlessly, while others just coast, which creates intense resentment among the productive workers.
That is the ultimate sign of poor management when your hardest workers are the most miserable.
And finally, the fifth ill is discipline. Servants are arrogant. Jian Haozong. The ones with influence or connections ignore rules, and the ones without influence can never advance. Merit is meaningless when patronage rules.
These 5 points. It's an immediate, comprehensive diagnosis of a complete organizational breakdown. She's diagnosing a failure of HR, finance, morale, and middle management all at once.
And these are the reasons why Jia Zhen had to shed tears and frantically buy status from the outside, because his internal administration was rotten to the core, despite his limitless wealth. These flaws are why even limitless resources can't guarantee stability.